Hi, we thought it was about time that we showed you the setup of our lodges here at Ceol Mor, and boy, what a journey it was. This is how they look in our environment today. They look lovely, but crikey, there was a lot of work to get this far. In the patch of ground where the lodges are now, there was an old summer house and electricity didn't work here and it was a bit rotten. So first job was to move this. This was an aerial shot from the day we moved in. Here's the summer house coming down. It took a good couple of days. One of the first things we had to do was to have some ground tests and percolation tests to make sure the ground adequately drained the water and rainwater away. Using the advice of an ecologist, we removed some of the non-native fir trees. We had two challenges to overcome. One was to get this pole relocated, and two, there were badgers living on site. So we had to have special permission from Nature Scott to do any work at all. And then the next job was to get the pole mounted transformer relocated out to the field and relay the mains to the property underground. Car parking area was constantly full of construction vehicles and lorries and all sorts. It was just constant things going on. And here's a bit of a view of how things looked before the main lodge building got underway. As you can see, it was a construction site. The ground had to be re-levelled down there to make space for two lodges because the summer house only took up the space of one. So there was an awful lot of landscaping going on. The land had to be built up and got ready for two really large concrete plinths to go down that would safely hold the lodges up. We also had to have a separate septic tank put in for the lodges because the house one was too far away and the lodges needed the extra capacity. And then the concrete plinths could go down. We had cement mixer after cement mixer come down with fresh concrete to be taken down to build up these plinths. To say when they were done, they looked awesome. Yvonne and I were constantly doing things in the background, like setting up our brand, getting some team t-shirts, getting business cards, a website going. There was just loads to do. And finally, in the autumn of 2021, the lodges were loaded up for delivery. Kev and his team, appointed by Outer Space, were brilliant, and they really worked hard. Some of the weather was pretty challenging for them, I have to say. It took about 4 weeks or so to get the main structures built up and watertight. Initially, I thought the lodges looked a bit like Smurf huts. Once this stage was done, there was an opportunity to get the first fixes of things like plumbing and electrics into place. So Karen, our electrician, and Andy, our plumber, were on site before the finishing work was done on the lodges. And then in the spring of 2022, Kev and his team came back and started to clad the lodges. Their work also included setting up the decking as well. And the interior fit-out job was just immense. So much to do here. And fitting the windows, there was just loads going on, but they really started to look pretty lovely. With kitchens going in and bathrooms going in, we could really see things taking shape. We were under quite a lot of pressure though to get at least one lodge in a good position to show, because whilst this was all going on, we were being filmed by Channel 5 for Ben Fogle's Making a New Life in the Country, and we had to get something good to show him before the filming finished. We made it though, and it was great to see Ben up to see us up at Ceol Mor Highland lodges. Once the crew was gone though, it was back to work, more groundworks, getting cables in for the EV charge point and the outside lights. And all the rest of the finishing off at the landscapes around the path and the garden at the top. The lodges though by this point were looking lovely. Just look at that, aren't they beautiful? Over time, this heat-treated pine cladding would blend into the landscape perfectly, and we'll show you a little bit of that at the end of this video. Then the outside lights get fitted and we start fitting out the interior of the lodges really well. We get some bespoke outside furniture made. We build our guest books with all the information and links that people would need to see everything here. Blackout blinds go in, and Egon spends ages getting everything we need to make these the best self-catering lodge you could possibly have. We put some nice photos on the walls. All of these ones we've taken ourselves as well. We get the broadband in. We build and fill a little planter outside the lodges with pretty flowers. We get signs for each lodge so guests know where they're going, and a sign at the top of the drive. One of the last things that happens is the curtains get fitted. June 2022, ready for opening on 1st of July. And now the lodges really blend in. Whatever the season, they just look stunning. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you up here soon.